received a call asking to do welcome for today's service. And when you love a family as much as we love a family, there's only one answer, and it ain't no. So, what do you do when you have to figure out what to say to a room full of people grieving? I figured it would be just that, about the relationship between grief and love. Grief sharpens love. It hones love. It's like a lightning rod that makes us fiercely realize the importance of the moment while we're in it. It's a gift that helps us realize the importance of being present in each other's presence. Grief is the cost of great love given. It is a debt we all pay sooner or later. That grief is a sign that the joy we felt with someone was a gift that cannot be forgotten. Grief is here to foreshadow eternity. A mere intermission, a pause between two worlds. It should not be feared, and you should not despair. For grief is merely a promise, one designed to make us truly desire the day where we all rejoin and rejoice. For the Lord has promised an eternity together in his warm embrace. And there we will all meet face to face. Today is a day to laugh and cry, hug and hold dear, knowing there is a life to celebrate today, one that impacted so many. Thank you to family and friends for coming together to honor a beautiful soul we know as Michelle. It is my humble and great honor and privilege to pass the microphone to one of Michelle's favorite kids for our opening prayer. Lane.
Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also, your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Watch over everyone and comfort us as we mourn and heal over Sister Michelle. I know we will meet again when we wake in heaven. Amen. Now I would like to welcome up to the stage Reed Brown and Tristan Swanland for our scripture reading.
Today we are reading Psalms 23.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake.
Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of your enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
We now welcome Pastor Willie up.
Good afternoon. My name is Karina. Michelle was a friend of mine, and I have a song that I'd like to share in her memory. If I had only known the last time would be the last time, I would have put off all the things I had to do. I would have stayed a little longer, held on a little tighter. Now what I'd give for one more day with you. 'Cause there's a wound here in my heart where something's missing, and they tell me that it's gonna heal with time. But I know you're now at peace, and all your wounds have been erased. And knowing yours are healed is healing mine. The only scars in heaven, they won't belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken, and all the old will be made new. And the thought that makes me smile now, even as the tears fall down, is that the only scars in heaven are on the hands that hold you now. I know the road you walked was anything but easy. You picked up your share of scars along the way. Oh, but soon you'll stand beneath the sun. You fought your fight and your race is run. The pain is all a million miles away. The only scars in heaven, they won't belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken, and all the old will be made new. And the thought that makes me smile now, even as the tears fall down, is that the only scars in heaven are on the hands that hold you now. Hallelujah, 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 for the hands that hold you now. There's not a day goes by that I don't see you. You live on in all the better parts of me. Until I'm standing with you in the sun, I'll fight this fight and this race I'll run, until I finally see what you will see. Oh, the only scars in heaven, they won't belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken, and all the old will be made new. And the thought that makes me smile
Good afternoon. Michelle Leanne Swanlin was born July 31st, 1998. Her life was tragically ended on July 8th, 2023 due to a fatal car accident. But how many of you know that was not Michelle's life? That was not what her life was about. That's not what her life stood for. And today we're here to really celebrate Michelle, to really take a moment and pause about the life that was lived so well. You know, I didn't know Michelle very well, but I do know several things. One, Michelle loved her family. Michelle loved her friends. Michelle loved people. And Michelle loved horses. Michelle loved a lot. And the things that Michelle did so line up with who we know Jesus to be. You know, in 1 John chapter 4, verses 7 through 8, it tells us, "Beloved, let us love one another. For love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God." How many of you know Michelle knew God? But it goes on from there and it says, "Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love." Michelle knew God. God knew Michelle. And I really like the quote that was at the beginning of Michelle's obituary by Ralph Waldo Emerson. It says, "It's not the length of life, but the depth of life." Listen, I've been around 58 years. I've pastored churches. I pastor this church. Unfortunately, when you do what I do, you attend a lot of these kind of events. And I've seen people that have passed away far longer than Michelle, but they lived half the life that she lived. How do you measure a life? How do you measure the success of a life? I mean, I think we know it's not the house you own or the job you have or the money you have or the toys you're able to buy. You measure the success of a life by the people you love and those who love you. So you guys in this room represent the success of Michelle's life. You represent a life well lived. I don't know about you, but that encourages me. And I think, Galatians chapter 5, verse 6 says, "The only thing that counts is faith expressing itself through love." Now, the writer of that was the Apostle Paul. And the Apostle Paul wrote, for those of you that don't know, the Apostle Paul wrote about almost half of the books of the New Testament. Foundationally, he's one of the most important persons in all of Christianity. And he writes, "The only thing that counts is faith expressing itself through love." How many of you know Michelle expressed love? Michelle expressed her faith through love. That's a life well lived. I'm sorry, by anybody's standard, that's a life well lived. That's an amazing life. The very foundation of Christianity is that there's an afterlife. Like, there's a lot of things that different denominations don't agree on. I mean, you could put one Christian in a room and there's going to be an argument. There's a lot of things that we don't agree on. But we all agree that there's a heaven. We all agree that there's a place that we go to after we pass away. So really today is not about grieving for Michelle, because she's actually in a place right now where she's having the best time she's ever had. She's enjoying life. She's having fun. She's more alive right now than she's ever been. We grieve Michelle because we miss her. We grieve Michelle because we desire to be with her. We long to be with her. But don't grieve for Michelle. Michelle's in a great spot. Michelle's doing what Michelle wants to do. And I know that because in John chapter 11, verse 25, Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. They will live even though they die. So yes, we lost Michelle. We lost Michelle way too early. We lost her tragically, but we know she's alive today. We know she's enjoying life today. We know that she's having a great time. And someday, we will see Michelle. Someday we will be with Michelle. Michelle's in the hands of God today, experiencing love like she never has. How do I know that? Because in Romans 37:39 it says, for I am convinced that neither death nor life. Now I want you to pay real close attention to this. I am convinced that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor rulers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else in all creation, nothing will be able to separate us from the love of God. That should give us hope. That should give all of us hope that Michelle is where she was created to be. Michelle is doing what she was created to do. She is, again, experiencing for the first time in her entire life an existence that is so far beyond anything we can imagine. That gives me hope. That should give all of us hope. Well, Michelle lived a successful life. Michelle lived a successful life, maybe not great at picking sunglasses, but she lived a successful life. And again, how do I know that? Because you guys are here. Because you guys have shown up to honor her family, to honor who she was. And you guys are here. You're a living testimony of the success of Michelle's life. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this day. I think we have a video that's coming now. So let's watch this video together. Maybe we have a video coming. They're working on it.
Ready?
Hello, everybody. It's Gordon here, Michelle's older brother. Most of you already all know that. I'm here to share a memory or a time that we had together that was great. We had many of them. She was basically my best friend for the longest time growing up. We took care of each other just like the rest of us. And I think one of the really good times we had were 2017. We went on a camping trip with me, her, and a whole bunch of us. And we were up late, laughing, having a good time, and decided to go catfishing out at Ruth Lake. And she ended up hooking a pretty nice sized catfish. Nice size for out there anyways. She was having a blast. I have a picture of it. Let's see if we can put it in here. But it's one of the really good memories we had together. We had a lot of them like that, many of camping trips together with friends and all that. Have a blessed day, guys. Thanks for watching.
A special memory I had with my sister Michelle was when she came to Ohio to watch the birth of Paisley. Well, Paisley decided to come a bit early before Michelle got to meet her. Michelle was there while she was less than 24 hours old, and we spent 3 days in the hospital. Michelle cuddled her, talked to her, and then when we got out, I was able to finally show them around of where I lived, and we did a lot of fun things with each other. Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm Michelle's older sister. A memory that I would like to share with you today is the time that me and her went riding at Cuneo Creek. We were about an hour into the trail ride, and she looks over and she sees a river, and she was always someone who was very spontaneous in the things that she liked to do. So she's like, oh, do you want to go swimming? So we ended up going swimming with the horses, and then she's like, how about we put the horses over there and get off and go swimming in our clothes in the river, shoes on and everything. Yep. Oh. Ready? Go. Oh, why is she coming off? My shoes are heavy.
Hi, I'm Tristan, and I was Michelle's youngest brother, and this is Dazzle. She was her favorite meal, and Michelle was always there for me. She would call whenever, and she would always interact with me, spend a lot of time with me, and we loved each other a lot, and we did many things together, many adventures done, and we would also, I always knew that she'd be there for me. And Dazzle, she's really special to Michelle and Mom because they went on a vacation, and when they came back, they had Dazzle.
Hi everyone, it's Leah, Gordon's wife. I didn't have a ton of memories or moments with Michelle. We had recently started our own friendship and relationship over the last year or so. If you know the Swanland family and the kids, you know that you have to work to get in with them, but once you are in, they love fiercely. And Michelle was an example of that. She loved fiercely. She protected the people she loved, and she shone her light over everybody she touched. So I knew that once I was in with her, it meant the world to me. And so that is my memory from our big hug we shared.
thank God for all the wonderful memories of Michelle's growing up years. Just a few little ones. Doing her homework at the dining room table, and her great delight in gardening and finding that there were ripe red raspberries growing up in the old rose bush behind the house. Our little road trips, and coming home from a family weekend at the river when I was gearing up for the passing lane. Michelle laughed and said, "Pedal to the metal, Grandma." Oh. She liked baking chocolate chip cookies, and if she saw that the bananas were getting ripe, she made banana bread. During one of our scary earthquakes, she hurried to my side and put her arm around my shoulders to comfort and protect me. Just a few of the little things that I remember, and we'll treasure them all.
What I'm going to miss about Michelle the most was her happy grin from ear to ear. She always would say, "Hi, Gramps. You know how?" You know, that always started a new experience. From putting a headlamp in and rewiring it at 10 o'clock at night to putting new brakes on. Michelle always pitched in and did most of the work, just asked how to do it. She always had a job, was always a go-getter. Yes, I'm gonna miss Michelle's grin and her happy attitude. Bye, Michelle.
Did you get on? What was it? Any capitals? The other one's Red Creek too. Poor Jason and kiddos have now said strikes.
Hi, I'm Jody. I'm Michelle's mom. I was thinking a lot of times this week trying to decide which story to tell about Michelle. There's a lot of them. We did a lot of things together. We did a lot of horse rides, a lot of traveling, just a lot of adventures in life that we shared together, and I'm so thankful for them. But today I thought I'd tell about the time that Michelle had just had a huge surgery on her leg and had a cast that was about up to her waist almost. And she was really bored and had gone into weeks of recovery time. And she decided to go spend a little time with her best friend Anna, and she went over to Anna's house. And about 9:30 at night, Anna came over and knocked on our door, said, "Miss Jody, we have a problem." I said, "What's that, Anna?" She said, "Well, Michelle swallowed a rock." And I had to stop and say, "She did what?" She said, "Yes, Michelle swallowed a rock." And I said, "Well, how did that happen?" And she said, "Well, we were playing hide the rock, and Michelle thought she had the best hiding place ever, and she slipped it into her mouth, and the rock was probably about this big, and it was flat, and she slid it into her mouth and started laughing because Anna said something that just cracked her up. And down the rock went, and it ended up lodged in the back of her throat right here, like a necklace if you took an x-ray. And she couldn't get it out. They had tried for half an hour and they got worried, and so they decided to come and tell me about it. So off I went to the ER with Michelle, and on the form I remember writing, "Daughter swallowed rock." And they looked up at this 12, 13-year-old and said, "What?" I said, "Yes, she swallowed a rock." And they said, "Well, are you sure she swallowed a rock?" I said, "Yes, it's a flat rock and it wedged right here." So they carted her back and took an x-ray, and Michelle was swallowing like this, and all of a sudden they came back and said yes, she had swallowed a rock, in fact. And they were having a get-together with several doctors of trying to figure out how to get this rock out, because if they had her swallow it, it might get stuck going down. If she threw it up, it might get stuck coming up. So they were trying to figure out a game plan, because this was something they had not seen before in Eureka ER. So about 15 minutes of sitting on the gurney, waiting in the private room, Michelle was just flustered and she threw herself back. And she started gagging, and I grabbed the throw-up bag and I threw it at her, and she grabbed it and she threw up. And she looked at me and had a smile on her face and said, "Mom, I just threw it up. We got the rock out." And I went over, and sure enough, I found the rock, and as I was washing it off, I rang the nurse and said, "We're good here. We don't need to be here anymore." And they said, "Well, why?" And I said, "Well, because my daughter threw up the rock." So, in her own way, Michelle always somehow solved problems. She helped others solve their problems. And today, I'm just thankful for all the times that we got to spend together. And I loved and cherished every one of them. And I wish and hope for each of you that you have just as many happy, amazing memories that you have of her.
Alright, go. And now we have a smoke alarm.
And play.
Michelle Swanlin was a dear friend of ours and was one of my favorite Redwood Creek summer camp buddies. I remember sitting up late at night in the social circle around our tents where everyone liked to gather, and we would just clown all night. It was a great memory, one that I got to share in for several years. She was there along the journey early on in our recovery and a big supporter of my family's journey to recovery. One of my favorite memories is seeing Michelle walk around Redwood Creek summer camp with my youngest daughter Alana on her hip. She was one of Alana's favorite people, and she gravitated towards her. So anytime you saw Michelle walking around the campgrounds when she didn't have anything to do, it meant Alana was on her hip. We're gonna miss her.
Hi, I'm Taylor, and I knew Michelle for a lot of our life. One of my earliest memories is horseback riding with her and her mom on the beach. Although, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it might have been I met her at one of my riding lessons with her mom. But, anyways, that's what I'm getting at, is that most of my memories with her are centered around horses. I have so many memories of Michelle with horses. She was game for anything. She was a really talented horsewoman, and she and I worked together at Redwood Creek Camp, and she was like my right-hand man. She was always someone I knew that I could count on. She knew how to have just the right amount of fun and still keep things safe for the kids. And I really don't think that our horse nation side of things would have been as fun without her. Besides that, she was just an awesome friend. I remember on the year of my 21st birthday, she waited up until I got back to make sure that I make it in okay, because I was a little bit older than her. And I did, and we had a lot of fun when I got back, but I'll definitely really miss her.
Look at Rachel.
Hi, my name is Randy. I was Michelle's camp pastor at Redwood Creek for a number of years. And as I think of Michelle, I have to think of saying goodbye. But goodbye comes with an inherent hello. So, Michelle, goodbye. And I look forward to saying hello.
You know, nothing quite helps heal a grieving heart like hearing how others experience the one you're grieving. Right now, we want to open up the mic and the floor to individuals to share and take part in the healing process, to share maybe your fondest memory or how you knew Michelle openly and loudly to the room. If you would, raise your hand and I'll give you 2 minutes if you're so inclined to share. I know it's hard in these moments, but she lived a life that gave so many memories and so many reasons. And being part of the healing process is exactly what we're here to do, folks.
So I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her when she was young, but some of the jobs that I do as a nurse is to go to people's homes and make sure they're being well cared for. And I went, and there was Michelle taking extremely good care of a couple that was very impaired and needed a lot of care. And I was really impressed that she was actually in charge of all the caregivers and all the training for the caregivers and the scheduling for them. And she was doing such an excellent job. And I was like, you got a good gig, girl.
Oh, she was an amazing kid and an amazing camper and an even cooler Redwood Creek camp counselor. Anyone else have memories to share?
Hi, not used to talking into mics. I'm used to talking in front of a classroom, though. I was Michelle's teacher, I think from 10th to 12th grade. It might have been 11th, but she just taught me a lot about perseverance. And I just still picture her sitting on my back counter and just being a little ornery, but always having her work done and always, getting along with everyone and helping everyone. And I saw her towards her graduation more and more as a friend. And I just always looked up to her for how she overcame all the obstacles that life handed her and always stayed positive. And she was so much fun. And we stayed in touch mostly after she graduated, but I had lost touch a couple times when I had my babies. She texted me and we texted back and forth a little bit more, but I just wanted to say, I'll never forget her. She was very special to me, and I know everyone in this room felt the same way.
Oh, you betcha. You betcha.
I met Michelle when she came to Freshwater. I think she was in fourth grade. And I remember it very clearly. She had a hard shell on her. And I thought, well, I'm going to get through to this person. And I did. And we became quite close, 4th through 8th grade. And she and her sister Hannah, very special to me. I remember both of them, Miss Carlstad, keeping me in line when I would be a little disorganized. And yeah, just really good memories.
Thank you. Oh, she was fierce and quick-witted and stubborn and fun. Wherever she was, you were guaranteed to have a good time. That's without a doubt. Does anyone else have anything to share? So I'll share something pretty intimate. I, along with my wife, are in recovery. We have 10 years, and I have 4 children. These 4 children grew up with my wife and I, living in motels, going from motel to motel, while we were lost and forgotten and felt very isolated. Until one day, we were thrust into the presence of the Swanland family and the Swanland kids. And we shared a lot of similar history in the lives that all of us have experienced. And early on, it was Melissa, Michelle, Hannah, and Gordon who would show up weekend after weekend, picking us up, taking us to church, spending time with us, helping us believe in ourselves. And the first showing of true compassion and empathy, it was like Christ's love was being bestowed through these kids They were teenagers and youngsters, and they connected with my children. And they helped us as parents understand what is needed for children. I have 4 happy and healthy children back there. And Michelle played an incredible part in that. The skate nights, the summer camps. It was those moments that will ring true through my children, and I'll never forget. Until the day that we see her again, and I can thank her truly for the difference that she made in my life. And the 10 glorious years that we've spent since that big change, since those big days, and the future that all of you were a part of in my children, because they're happy and they're healthy because of all of you. I give one more opportunity. Is there a closing prayer? Thank you all.
So really, all of us, the only thing we can hope for is that at the end of our life, people say it was a life well led. How many of you have heard that today? Michelle's life was a life well led. And I like what her camp pastor said. Even though we have to say goodbye, someday I'll get to say hi. Someday I look forward to getting to know Michelle on a much deeper level. Will you pray with me? Jesus, as we come today, as we have come here to honor Michelle, to honor the life that she has led, to honor what she accomplished in loving so well, loving so many, and having so many people love her. We came here to honor her today, and we have done that. Now, Lord, my prayers turn for those that are grieving. Lord, you have us in our grief. You know what we need, and you know that grief is different for each and every person. So we commit ourselves into your hands, and we say, Father, help us as we go through this process. Help us as we grieve. Jesus, we know that you are really, really good. And we don't always understand things that happen around us, but we still proclaim that you are good. And Jesus, I would just ask you to visit this family, these friends who are here on a daily basis as they walk through the next months and even years. Lord, be with them, guide them, and always let us remember Michelle led a really great life. Amen. Listen, thank you guys so much for being here. We have the family has some food and stuff over here. I'm going to say a quick blessing over that, and then we could just go. All right? I promise this won't be a long prayer. All right? Jesus, bless this time together. Bless our fellowship together. Bless this food, the family, everything that's been prepared here in your name. Amen. Thank you for coming.
I get where I'm going on the far side of the sky. The first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside a lion and run my fingers through his mane. Or I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no